You are listening to Making It, the path to beauty industry greatness with Canvas Me, where we go behind the scenes to explore the human side of beauty professionals, learn how they found balance in their lives, overcame obstacles, and created communities that transcend the ordinary. Hosted by Canvas Me co-founders Jen and Matt Martinelli alongside Canvas Me directors April and Megan, Making It is your guide to navigating the ever-evolving world of beauty.
Welcome to Making It, your backstage pass to beauty. I'm April, and today we're joined by Lorleanne Ball, a dynamic force in the beauty industry with over 12 years of experience and a passion that continues to grow. Recently, Lorleanne took a significant step by opening her own salon, and she's a firm believer in the power of community and embodying the spirit of "it takes a village." Her enthusiasm for learning and teaching is truly inspiring, and we're excited to connect with her today. Do you feel like you've made it?
So I I think I've made beyond what I thought I would make. But I don't know if I've made it
Okay.
because then that says you're done with your goals. And I'm always setting goals and always wanting to do more. And so I don't know that I've made it because what is it? I think that it's nice to be in a position where I can choose my clients and say, I don't think we're going to work. I love that your inspo is this, but I'm not that. And I've told people for years, you have to communicate with me. You can't, I'm not following you in your bushes. I'm not stalking you at the grocery store. So if it doesn't work, tell me because I can't fix it. But also, not everybody loves Monet. Not everybody loves Picasso. And I am an artist. So if my style doesn't work for you, that's okay. I'll help you find somebody. But don't just walk away and never tell me how to improve. So I think that kind of goes along with like, have I made it? I've made it to a point where I have full books, which is what you want to have when you go to school. But I'm in a pivoting point and have opened my new 3-person suite. And I actually am pivoting even from that because all I knew was booth rent. But I think that the last thing my town needs is another booth rent salon. It needs a place for baby hairstylists, as we've started calling them, the ones who have just passed their boards and they are terrified. And I get it because when I started doing hair, you went with your grandma and there was like this basket in the corner and you pulled out the books and you looked at like the 17 haircut options and then you were like, okay, I want these partial highlights and this haircut. And now thanks to social media, there's so much. And I think that I would be so intimidated walking out of school going, okay, I spent all this money and all this time and I can do pin curls and roller sets. And now what?
Right.
So I don't
Oh
know
my,
that I've made it. I think that I'm just at the beginning of a whole new point. So maybe I made this level and I'm leveling up in adulting now. I don't know.
well, first of all, I have to just say you just gave me such a flashback to I grew up with a family beauty salon in the 80s
Yeah.
and the 90s, and I
Yep. I
remember
knew the
having
books.
to organize those books.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
gosh.
"Oh my gosh, I forgot about those books." And it truly was like you did go through and you
Yeah.
were like, "Okay, so I like this hair color and I like this style
Mhm.
cut." And I remember it just being so, oh my gosh, it was just such a clear image right now.
Yep.
But you're so right that there is such a need for a transition place for students who come right out of school. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit more of like, it sounds like, so you just opened your own salon
Mhm.
and take me a little
Um,
bit through that journey of kind of now where you're pivoting or new ideas are sparking. I-
so I have, it was about November. I took over this space that was meant to be just me and my partner, just working independently together. It's a larger salon suite. And that person decided this wasn't going to work for them. So I bought them out. And here I am, desk clears. And I'm like, all right, I have this space. What do I want from it? And really, for me, I love to teach. I love educating my clients. They're always like, yeah, I have to curl my hair. And you said cheesecake slices, right? Tall and thin. I'm like, yes, that's how you get your beach waves. And they're like, okay, I've got it. And I just feel like knowledge is power. When somebody's touching your human, and so I thought, you know what? Maybe that's why I'm here. That's why I ended up at this salon suite. After leaving the salon I was at for 10 years, was okay, maybe I'm meant to help grow people. And I'm totally up for that. Let's do it. And I hired my first girl like right away in December. She sent her resume and I was like, oh, I should be working for you. You have like a bachelor's degree, certified life coach, but that to me is what is important. You can teach the technical. You can't teach somebody to be a good person. And so I was like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to find the good people who don't match that hairstylist stereotype and create a safe space for them to grow. And I had a couple of friends, like one of my good friends is a tattoo artist and she tattoos a ton of stylists. And she sent somebody my way and was like, hey, I think that this person would be a good fit. And I reached out to this girl, just kind of asking, like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? Are you happy where you are? How can I be a big sister in this very intimidating industry? And, we kind of talked back and forth. And eventually I messaged her and I said, hey, this is my mission. This is my goal. And are you truly as unhappy as I think I'm picking up on? And she said, yes. But what I took her response as was constructive criticism because I always want to grow. She kind of asked, or not asked, but made some pointed questions of like, these are the things I'm looking for when I'm looking for a salon, like a website. Do you have a lot of, traffic, people coming by? And I was like, oh, no, I don't. But I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, that sounds like you know your worth and go find that. And then I went and made a website.
Yeah.
So just creating a space for happiness, safety, which is what I think we all really need right now.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified.
I love that you're basically creating like such a foundation of a supportive environment and really open to, what are some things that hairstylists and beauty professionals are looking for, right? And a website, maybe that wasn't at the top of your mind at the moment, right? It was like, oh,
never made one in my life.
Because and it's really, I think that is really important because they are doing their research and they are trying to figure out. And that was such a great point of like, well, how do people find you? How do customers find you if you don't have a website? That's incredible.
We have Instagram, we have a Facebook, but there are still people who look for websites.
Yes. So that's incredible in the sense of just the information that she shared with you to really kind of open your eyes of different things. But I also think that you are such a natural leader. The fact that you are, ready to coach right out of the gate. And I think that you are a natural teacher already, as it is. And so I feel like you definitely have this trajectory to become such a great mentor. And I love what you're creating for your space. So you've got your first hire is what you said. And so tell me some of your wins with that.
One of the things that we do is we give back to our community. We do with our community and for our community. So we give a space for local women who own small businesses to also come in to a brick and mortar that maybe they can't afford. And can I say, I absolutely love hosting with Caitlin. She was in a sorority and was a consultant and did all of this stuff. So like her walking in, being like, yeah, I have this knowledge. I think that's the biggest part of your team. Like, I don't want to be a leader. I want to lift up. So here is what you have to offer. Here are your strengths. Let's work that in. And so it just felt like she naturally worked and what my vision was. And so we've had like a cookie decorating class where a mom who she has 2 littles, this is her side hustle. This is what she does to bring extra income. So we had the salon opened up big row of tables and chairs right down the center and gave this woman the opportunity to have a space to come and teach people her skills. And Caitlin was phenomenal and just like reaffirming, like, okay, there are people just as crazy as me out here who want to change, who say that the toxic gossip, negative of this beauty industry is not okay. And like we see this huge trend of people going to salon suites, but you kind of have to go through the muck and the mire of putting up with that toxic salon to find your people, and then you all migrate away.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? Like, I have many clients who tell me they love the atmosphere of the salon and the like meeting people, and I don't double book just because of the way I've built my clientele. However, when it arises, I need to double book. Both of them are aware of it. And I also pay attention to, like, I'm not going to put a priest and an atheist together. Like, that just sounds like disaster. But 9 times out of 10, they end up talking, visiting. And I've had people who now ask to be double booked together because they enjoy that social time. So like there is social in salons and people like that. Right now, people are so craving that social that when Caitlin and I do these events, like this month, we're doing Buckets and Blooms. She's a woman who lives in the town north of us. I'm 99% sure she grows everything in her yard. And then she's teaching a bouquet class. And I was like, I don't have a groom or a wedding date, but can I please, like, will you do my wedding floral?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I don't know, we're doing a lot.
Yeah. And what a magical combination to really put together. Not only are you're creating what sounds like a beautiful space, right? So not only people are enjoying your space that you have, but you're also hosting these events that really bring in community. And I think that that is so beautiful in the sense of you're also bringing in such different creative elements and supporting other businesses that aren't even connected to the beauty industry. And you're creating such like a foundation of, just this place of hosting. And I think that that sounds so fun. Like, I wish I lived closer. I want to try. I don't have a wedding to go to either, but that would be really fun because, I'm a creative person that likes to dive into random things. But I also think that so many people nowadays, they are creating the experience, right? And I think that it's really important that
That is huge.
we just shed a little light onto what you're speaking to of like, you personally choose not to double book, but you also have recognized in cases that you have double booked and you have kind of played matchmaker of just bringing another community together of people that come to visit your space on a regular basis, but they don't know each other. And you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like you should just know each other and it would be just so fun. But wow. Oh my gosh. So cookies, bouquets. Oh my goodness. So this has to be such a great atmosphere. And it sounds to me like your team really loves this.
I'm pretty biased, but I think so. Yeah. And that is the biggest thing I stress to my team is like, it is about the experience because when you study different generations and what is of value and importance, the generations that are walking into salons now, they are the ones who they don't want grandma's tchotchkes. They don't want tons of stuff to weigh them down when they walk into their home. But what they want are the experiences that they can talk about, share about, and post about. And so making sure that the experience is worth the money when they come here. Yeah. So like we have a coffee bar. As Midwesterners, if you decline something 4 hours later into this color correction, you're like, I'm really thirsty, but I told her no, I don't want something to drink. So right there in the front, in the lobby, help yourself. There's a bowl of snacks, there's drinks, there's coffee, we have Powerade, whatever you need, because if you hang out with me long enough, I will attempt to feed you. So having everything you need, if you're processing, you can help yourself without that anxiety of feeling like, I want to ask her, I said no like 7 hours ago, but now I kind of changed my mind. We have a list of what food places are around so that these are the ones that DoorDash, these are the ones that will deliver. And then when you go to the shampoo bowl, Like that is such an intimate thing to wash somebody's hair. And after that, period in 2020 that we all have, trauma from, that was the number one thing people told me was I missed somebody washing my hair. And so making sure that experience is just like I have said to Caitlin, no matter how behind you are, take your time at the shampoo bowl because we all get irritated when they rush our pedicure. Like, no, no, no. Like, I don't care about the nail polish. The nail polish just makes it less weird that I want you to rub my feet for the next 15 minutes. So take your time at the shampoo bowl, really get in there and actually clean their hair because I know I've sat in the bowl and been like, she missed all of this right here. Nothing got touched right there. So like make sure you are thorough in your shampooings. And then we also have a hot towel. Like we have a towel warmer and we pull that hot towel out and it smells like lavender. We put lavender on it and we wrap your head up. And you know what? People are like, and when we're walking away from the shampoo bowl because we have put you into a stupor and then wrapped you up in warm lavender. And it's about the experience because people want to know that, yes, everything is going up in price. But if your quality goes up with that, nobody's going to be as mad.
And that's what I was just thinking about in the sense of like, there is a lot of talk about raise your prices, all these things, right? And as a customer, just in general of other experiences I've had, I mean, it is very apparent when I know that either my hair wasn't washed the way, like I've had your experience where you have been like, you didn't go below here. Like there's still a lot of hair down there. But also in the sense of like, I do recognize when there is just a really great experience where I'm put into a whole different place because all of a sudden I'm really relaxed and I'm like, okay, that's my person. I am coming back here because of that, because it really sets you into a different state. And that experience is what we crave. And that experience is what we remember.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure your customers, especially if you're lavender based, I bet you they can smell that. Yeah, no, it is too though. But I bet you they can smell the lavender, right? When they think about like, oh, I have my appointment. Oh, they can like sense it. So it's really important with like consistency, but also having that. And that just really elevates your whole, salon experience, customers repeating, telling other people of like, oh my gosh, you have to come check this out. Like, I mean, that is one of the best things. And I just know as a customer, I mean, I know when it's really good. I also know when it's not.
Right. Well, and you grew up with it. Having grown up in a salon,
Yep.
you've seen the like, that's kind of cringe because my mom never did that.
Right. Right. And I've also seen the under the pressure, right? You're behind, something happens, this happens, and you're trying to catch up, or, there's not enough towels or whatever is going on, right? I've seen the chaos.
We're not with you and the highlights were not lifting. It happens.
Yes, it totally does. And I think that it's one of those things where I really like the fact that you're just kind of like, no matter what, make sure that experience is the same experience for the customer, right? We're going to handle all the other stuff behind the wall here, but make sure for the, forward facing to the customer, it is the same. Wow.
Absolutely. Well, and if you're consistent with that quality, that person that is waiting and I'm huge on communication. If I know I'm running late, I'm going to try and shoot a message and just say, hey, just a heads up, go ahead and hit up the local coffee shop, Candy Cloud. Go get something for yourself. I'm about 15 minutes behind. Half the time they're like, hey, I was early, so I'm just going to sit here and hang out. And I'm like, absolutely, baby, you just hang out there. But the fact of the matter is because you've created that consistency of, I know, even though there's 3 people sitting on this couch and I don't even know who's next, she's not going to rush me or make me feel like I'm being kicked out. Because what happens is you rush and then you check them out. Yes. And what they're going to remember is that sandwich effect. They're going to remember the beginning. Oh, she did a really good consultation. And then she rushed me out.
Yep. It is so true.
Devalues from that experience.
It is so true. So tell me a little bit more. So I know that you're growing. It sounds like you have more of the maybe branching more into like an educator role at some point in your career. Is this kind of where you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And also potentially hiring an assistant and going through the steps of seeing legality wise, what is that? Because I'm a rule follower and I want to set a good foundation so that what
Mhm.
if we grow? And if you don't set a good foundation and you grow fast, what happens is that foundation crumbles. And I don't need any more mental issues. So, and I'm not trying to be the reason somebody is in therapy. So, looking at reaching out with my accounting team, what do I need as far as making sure I'm crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and also reaching out and I'm talking with my insurance agent because making sure that workman comp is available and that we are all covered is huge. So, I've got those feelers. I'm in research mode because being able to take my years of knowledge
Yeah.
and pour that into an apprentice, an associate assistant. They have so many different terms, but give them what I have. Would that not also add to community? And
Absolutely.
you think of the most tight knit communities, you're thinking, oh, they're passing down their knowledge, they're taking on somebody. And so I think that that is also my next step is to build into that community. I'm not afraid of, I hear owners when they're like, well, what if they leave? Well, why did they leave? So create a space where they don't want to leave because they know they're safe. They know they're part of a team that is not toxic, that is not hurtful, but maybe you're sitting there and the highlights didn't lift and you feel confident and comfortable going to your neighbor and saying, hey, Brittany, can you take a look? But if you're in a toxic place, of course you're going to be like, well, I'm going to just screw this up on my own instead of working together collectively. And like when you look at plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, iron workers, they're passing down their skill. Yes, you go through school, but you also apprentice. And this is a trade. This is a craft. Why are we not passing that down? And so I'm looking at potentially some education and becoming an educator and traveling and sharing, but also hiring an apprentice and somebody that can also learn and grow and be a part of my community. So there's a lot of things. I was like, oh man, last time we talked, I didn't have all these plans and now I'm going to just
No.
right on
Yeah.
top of you.
Yes. No, I think it's actually incredible because it's so fun to see you evolve so quickly.
Thank you.
And I just think it's super exciting. I think your energy is super intoxicating as well. So I
Thank you.
think you're going to be a natural leader, but I also can see for you in the sense of like coaching businesses. I mean, I feel like you are a figure it outer, right? Like you have
Yep.
figured out everything. I mean, earlier you said, I built a website, like I figured it out.
Yes.
And I know from speaking before, like you designed and decorated your entire, salon location and all of these things. You just figured things out, right?
Yep.
And that's what I think is amazing is like your drive and ambition is really, really something we all are inspired to have, right? And you just
Thank you.
naturally have that. And there's so many professionals in this industry that want to have their own business, right? But
Mhm.
they don't know what to do. And there might be people who just listened to you who talked about insurance, workman's comp, and they went, oh, I don't even know what to do with that, right?
Right.
Because it's
But
not,
find a professional. Find a
yes,
professional because
yes,
that's why we tell like don't box out your hair. Find a professional. Okay,
yes,
don't do your own taxes. Find a professional. Some things you can't DIY. That
yes,
those are the
yes.
things.
And I think that's so important. But you also touched upon something that's really big. And I think that it is something that it is an old school mentality to be really fearful of losing your employees. And I think that's one of the things where this industry has grown so dramatically. 12, 14 years ago, I managed a salon. And so one of the things is that I had an approach, and I think you and I are very similar, is I was just like, hey, what are some of your goals?
Mhm.
I imagine it may not be always working here. So, what are some of your goals? Like, let me see how I can help you in the sense of like, what do we need to grow you here? Or is it just
Mhm.
confidence in your skill? Is it, you know, knowing how to raise your prices and things like that when it's appropriate and how to address those with your customers? Because there's always the opposite of people are scared to raise their prices as well, that the fear that a customer will leave as well. So, but I think you touched on something that's really important is that we really need to look at, creating a space where people are comfortable that they can grow and they can share
Yeah,
ideas and things like that with what's working, but also have a platform where they have a team that they can rely on, right? And
absolutely.
when I managed that salon, don't get me wrong, I was I was always the guinea pig, just so you know. It's like, let's try new things. Plus,
Yep.
April has red hair, so it does weird things. So let's
Oh,
test it
yeah.
on her, right? So I had a brand new hairstylist who, and I would go to all different people in my salon, and I was like, "Hey, let's change it up. Let's do whatever you want." And I remember being in the shampoo bowl and I could just feel her energy had shifted, and I'm kind of a really intuitive person. So I was like, uh-oh, okay. But you know what? I'm one of the most calm, cool, collective customers you could have. Like, I'm not worried, right? As long as my hair is still attached, I'm not worried.
Correct. It can always
So
change colors if it's still
yeah,
attached.
you can always well, I saw her dart into the back room and grab one of our master stylists, and then they came out and
Mhm.
they did the kinda like, "See what's going on over here," and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?"
You.
I know what's happening here, and I was like, "So what do we got going on?" And they're like, your hair turned green." I was like, "Oh, that's fun." So I think that that is also about like creating and establishing that team. And I know
Yeah,
that that can be one of the hardest things, right? Especially with recruiting. We know that personalities is a big thing. So you have to find the personalities that match where you're at. And I feel like
absolutely.
that is one of the key things, but also, I love what you said is like you can teach all the other stuff, right? But there are certain
Yeah.
things you can't teach. But I also feel like we should never, as employers, have this fear of like, if I teach them things and they leave, that's a negative on me. If
Mm-mm.
anything, it could be a great reflection of you've actually brought them to the next place and you just don't have
Absolutely.
that next step for them because it's something they want to do beyond this. And I think that that has to be an accepted. And also, I feel like when people feel like that's okay to like have dreams and goals that might be
Mhm.
beyond the four walls that they're currently in, having a
Yeah.
supportive environment, they probably will stay a lot longer. And also, they're going to tell other people, like, hey, you want to work for here because they're going
Yes.
to support you. And I just feel like it just
Absolutely.
always comes back way more than you would expect than having the
Yeah.
fear. And I also feel like the fear starts to create that toxicity because I think that the energy starts to be felt that there's almost like negative energy towards someone or like are you think, like it's almost like it starts to get super gossipy. Everybody's
Yes.
thinking somebody's out to get them
Absolutely.
when really just people just have some other dreams and they're just,
And they need to
everybody's
communicate. But if you
yeah.
haven't created that place where you can communicate, so we
Mhm.
do once a month meetings because that is where you build the ability to communicate to each other. I tell Caitlin all the time, I'm like, babe, you're my first pancake. I am strongly independent. I don't actually, I have learned in these past few months, I do not know how to form the words to delegate.
Mm.
It's not that I need that control that I'm like, oh, I can do this better. No, I'm pretty sure I can. But I didn't know how to form the sentences of delegation.
Mm.
And that being able to talk in our meetings and say, okay, let's open the floor. Let's be honest. Let's talk. How can I improve for us? Because it's not just me going, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and you forgot about this. Nobody wants to feel that. Nobody wants to know that. What we want to know is how we can improve. Hey, I love that you are doing this. Let's elevate that situation by adding this in so that when it comes to that time of, you know what, I think I've outgrown here, you're going to know, well, you know what? Lorleanne has been the supporter all along. I think I feel safe telling her that I think this is where I need to grow. And then you won't have that fear, which you said brings negative connotations, brings that toxic energy, because you know that instead of what coming up to me and talking, she's telling her salon bestie and they're talking about it. And then the other stylist comes in, hears about it. So they're all talking about it. And I'm just over here with my golden retriever energy, completely unaware that this is going on. So if you create that place where people want to come and know that they can talk to you, then I think that is where the gossip gets squashed. The drama doesn't happen.
Right.
Because you talk to each other.
Yeah. And you're creating such a safe space to be like, hey, like what's going on? What's working? What's not working? And you may run into things that are out of your control, right?
Right.
It might be like, you know what, this just may not be the right fit, right? It does. It comes down to that sometimes. And that sometimes is one of the hardest lessons of a manager, salon owner, hiring manager, any of those positions, right? It's just sometimes, I have been guilty of hiring the wrong person. Trust me. I have made that mistake, right?
Or as a hiring person, you say, oh, I could really see this person's potential.
Yeah.
However, maybe they aren't ready to live up to that, or that standard you think that they should achieve isn't what they can do. Maybe their best isn't what you can see for them yet because they haven't grown or matured or gotten to that level yet. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's actually beautifully said, because it does take two sides, right? You can help guide someone to a certain place, but if they're not ready for that, or that it's on their mind to do that, then it's just not going to happen.
Sure. I was once there. I definitely was the booth renter who also worked 3 other jobs and had the boyfriend and just made it work. I was like, I really love doing this, but also I got to do this and this and this and this and this. And it wasn't until I had a really huge life situation happen that forced me to mature that I stepped back after the dust cleared of that. And I said, you know what? No, I think that hair is what I'm supposed to do. And I kept doing so. A little backstory about me. I graduated from college. I did the whole went to college, hate college, went to cosmetology school because the guy I was dating at the time, his sister-in-law was a hairstylist and she moved and needed a model. So I was like, poor college student, and this is a hot mess. So have at it. And I enjoyed learning along with Sarah. And I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. So I moved home from Minneapolis to Rockford, Illinois, went to cosmetology school, finished, and then was like, okay, I love this. But also, I have a lot of debt and I have a lot of credits and I want a piece of paper. So I went back to college in Chicago, which is about 80 miles away from us. And I got my bachelor's in art and design. So when you were touching earlier about you're super creative and you have all these things, I've paid a lot of money for that. But also both of my parents, my dad was raised by his grandmother and she was definitely of that school of thought of, I don't care if you're a boy or a girl, you're going to learn all these skills. Mm-hmm. And my mom was a watercolor artist and extremely creative, and they made me. And this is the product of that. So I'm Martha Crocker Vila, and I will attempt to cook it, bake it, color it, or build it. And so it's Insomnia on YouTube have taught me I can do anything. But they both were diagnosed with cancer, and I was not willing to put them in a nursing home. And having the flexibility of being a booth renter, I'm like, I can juggle all of the things. And I moved home to take care of them, and they both passed. And once the dust cleared and I looked at everything, I was like, all right, what do I want out of this life? What do I need from this life? Because I'm only doing this rodeo once. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I am going to buy this really quality pair of shears. I'm going to take every class I can find. And my weaknesses were blonding. I liked vivid colors, but they were intimidating. And I found every class I could. And, in Illinois, you have to have 14 credit hours. I averaged in the 20s and 30s because I used to be so intimidated. I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I want to take that class? But now I'm like, no, that class might make me better. And because I communicate with my clients in my chair, I'm like, hey, Jennifer, I just learned this new technique. It's called air touch highlights. We're going to do that on you today, okay? And they're like, sounds great. And they know that I'm going to communicate during the service. And then if it doesn't work, we won't do it again and I'll fix it before they leave. But I took that time. I was like, okay, what do I want? So I wasn't mature. I wasn't ready yet to be all in. And then I decided, you know what? I think that this could be a thing, and I need to just give all of my energy researching, learning, growing. And now I own a salon. And what? Like who let me adult? But when you find your passion and you give it your best, and some days your best is not the best that it was yesterday. But if you know that you give your best, whatever that measurement is for that day, your things are going to happen, whether you want them to or not. And then you're talking to this lady, April, and you have purple hair and you don't know who you are anymore.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful story and journey you've been on, where it has never been a clear path.
No.
If you asked yourself, as a kid, hey, can you imagine yourself having purple hair? And I know we were talking
Or
earlier
tattoos.
with tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Would that be who you are? You would be like, who? And
Who's that girl?
I think that's such a beautiful journey of where you've been and growth, and like true testament of like, how life has shaped you into this really incredible, inspiring person. And I'm just so excited for you with all these new adventures. And I know it's just really recent that you opened your salon. Do you have any advice you would tell anybody who's a new salon owner that might be listening, that might be just kind of early in their journey as
Sure.
well? Yeah.
I would tell them not to be embarrassed or afraid to admit you don't know.
Okay.
I've been doing my taxes and I was like, you know what? I feel like I need help. And I went into this, I ended up crying and they're like, don't even worry. We have tissues for this reason. The one accountant was like, I cry every day in the back room. But then I realized like I had been carrying this burden of this fear of making sure I'm doing my taxes right. And I was just so afraid to ask for help. Being a salon owner doesn't mean you know everything. It means you are crazy enough to think you could do this. And lean on your team. You don't have to be perfect because nobody is, but the willingness to be like, hey, so I'm thinking about this idea, and tell your team. Because there have been times I'm like, hey, Caitlin, I have this really cool idea. And she's like, that's illegal, right? I'm like, what? It is? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, so we won't be doing that. But I would have never known. And it was something so simple. I'm like, everybody else does it. And she goes, technically, yes, everybody else does it, but it is technically illegal. I'm like, well, I ain't breaking the rules because we're not getting in trouble. But lean on your team. Ask them because they're a human full of ideas and a different way of looking at things. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. But if you make little mistakes, you won't make big ones.
Sure. I mean, I think that's such great advice because it is true. Like, it's almost like you have to have some sort of sounding board, right?
Yeah.
So especially when you're doing this alone, it's always like either have a coach, or if you do have a great colleague or someone who works for you that you can bounce off ideas with, because it is really important, especially I just think it's so funny. You're like, oh, that's illegal. Oh,
What? Didn't even know.
But
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, where are you thinking with your salon? So I know that you've just opened, you have your new hire. Are you currently expanding? Are you looking for more people to join your team?
Yes. So we have one more chair, and we also have a back room that can be a space for an esthetician, a lash tech, a wax person. I love that this industry, like cosmetology, is nearly an umbrella for you to explore under and decide, oh, I want to do hair, I want to do nails, but I think in my vision, I've already outgrown this space. And so I want a place where currently we take down our stations. We like move our chairs up and roll up our mats once a month for these events that we're doing. So I'm looking for more genuine individuals, probably with ADHD, because that matches my spicy brain. People who are authentically and uniquely them. I don't want to find my cookie cutter people. There is a space for you, and I love that for you, but I will overwhelm you because that's not me.
Yes.
And so I don't know. I am at the beginning of the mountain, and I know that the journey is going to be a lot of up, but that doesn't scare me. that doesn't make me fearful. So I honestly am hiring until I die. I don't even know. Like, the more people I can love on and help grow, the better. So maybe we fill this space in the next year. And I've already implemented those professionals whose help I need to make sure that I'm laying a foundation so that we can grow more. Because I think that this is the beginning of that. And I'm not afraid. We'll find out.
I love this. Yes. So tell me, what do you feel is your purpose?
Love. There's not enough. And you have absolutely no idea what somebody could be going through. For example, and I actually was talking with a client about this. Instead of doing a guest book at my dad's funeral, I actually had rocks, like river rocks and Sharpies, and I had everybody sign that because in the little phrase that I had sitting next to it was, "You never know how far a ripple can travel. Please write down, so that I can look and know the effect my dad had on people." And that was the example I was set. Everybody knew they were getting a hug from Ron. If you needed your tire changed, Dad was there. There are so many people that don't have anybody to love them. And so if I can just love on you for the time you were in my chair, that's what I was made for, was to love on people, because there are so many people who don't have that. They don't have that person that cares. So, if you go speeding by, that's fine. You have to get there faster than I do. I don't know your life. Like, let me just love on you for the time that you were within my proximity. So.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Lorleanne, you're like going to make me cry.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm a sympathy crier. I'll cry with you.
Well, that is just such a beautiful note to end on. And I think that you are such a bright light and such an inspiration to people. And I just know you're going to do amazing things. I mean, even in the few months that you and I have connected, it seems like already the ball is rolling even faster for you. And I think that is so incredible. And I know that you've had some obstacles and things like that, but you always seem to come out on top and always have such a great positive attitude and, really kind of showing for true value of who you are, right? You're not afraid to admit when you need help. You're not afraid to admit when something has been challenging, but you also, have this drive to continue. And I think it's just one of the most inspiring things to see. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to do this with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Me and my imposter syndrome, we had a conversation before we started and I was like, no, you can do this.
Yes, you absolutely can. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Making It, the path to beauty industry greatness with Canvas Me. Our mission is to give you a voice, help you find your place of belonging, and empower you to thrive in this beautiful industry. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will fuel your own journey in your career. Head over to canvasme.com and unlock the next chapter of your beauty journey. Create your portfolio, showcase your unique talents, and connect with a community that understands and celebrates your story. Subscribe to Making It for more inspiring stories, and let's continue making it together.